A student named Run escapes from homeschool, sprinting away, but a staff member catches up to him, sedates him, and takes him back. Meanwhile, a group of parents arrives at the school to take the entrance exam for their children and is interviewed by the principal. All the parents give the same response, stating they want the best for their children and believe only homeschool can provide that. In the lounge, students wait for the results. Headmaster Yanni enters and calls for the scholarship applicants, leading them to the principal's office. There, Mr. Amin, the principal, interviews Maki and Tibet to students applying for the program and, satisfied with their responses, grants them admission. Later, Maki, at her orphanage, receives a confirmation letter and prepares to join the boarding school. Upon arrival, she's shown to her dorm, given her uniform, and directed to the garden where a welcome event is being held. All selected students are there, enjoying chocolate cookies as they introduce themselves. Mr. Amin and Headmaster Yanni arrive, and Mr. Amin greets them as the new Gen 6 students of homeschool. He outlines the school rules, but suddenly the lights go out. Panic spreads, and the students lose consciousness as they realize they've been drugged. The next day, the students awaken, one by one, on a bus in an unfamiliar area, eventually arriving at the actual homeschool building where Mr. Amin and Yanni are waiting. Mr. Amin welcomes them again, reminding them of the first rule: no phones are allowed. Yanni collects their phones, storing them away. In the days that follow, the students are gradually introduced to homeschool's strict regulations, with Mr. Amin and Yanni consistently reinforcing that rule breakers will face punishment. They must wake up early, go to bed early, and cook their own food. But in there only Maki knows how to cook, so she ends up preparing meals for everyone. A few days later, Mr. Amin addresses the Gen 6 students, acknowledging their challenges and noting that previous students face the same. The students protest, wanting to return home, but Mr. Amin asks them what home means to them, leaving everyone silent. He then emphasizes the importance of staying within school grounds and warns against venturing into the forest. However, a group of students, defying his instructions, sneaks into the forest to escape. Maki, Tibet, and Penwang are among those sent to search for the runaway group. As the escapees realize the forest seems endless, they start to argue, and most decide to return to homeschool. They meet up with Maki's group and make their way back. However, Headmaster Yanni sends them out again, saying they must return with everyone. At nightfall, the remaining escapees begin arguing again, but panic strikes when they hear distant screams for help. The two boys flee, leaving their companion, Jingjai, alone. She tries to follow, but falls and injures her ankle. The two boys soon encounter a staff member who escorts them back to homeschool. Meanwhile, Maki's group finds Jingjai, helps her, and, guided by a staff member, returns to homeschool. Back at the school, Mr. Amin reprimands the students for attempting to escape, then answers his earlier question, saying that home is a place of safety, and now they are each other's home. The students head to bed, but Maki lingers, noticing a framed picture of Run on the wall. It's revealed that Run is her older brother, and her real name is Ren. As she gazes at Run's picture, Mr. Amin enters. Maki asks about Run, and Mr. Amin smiles, telling her that Run was his favorite student. She then inquires about his whereabouts, but Mr. Amin simply smiles in response. The next morning, all Gen 6 students head outside for their daily exercise. Master Champ, the pay teacher, has them run laps around the lake. The students complain, finding it too demanding, but Master Champ insists it's actually the easiest exercise. Afterward, they return to the common room for breakfast, where Master Phobin serves their meals. The food is exceptionally tasty, but when students ask for seconds, Master Phobin informs them that each person is allowed only one plate at a time. Later that day, Mr. Amin introduces the students to all the teachers at homeschool and announces that there will be no classes during the first week. Instead, the students are given an unusual assignment. Each must care for a pet duckling. However, he warns that those who fail to look after their duck will face serious punishment. Each student is given a duckling, and they soon gather to care for them. Some students work together to build a shelter for the ducks, while Maki and Penwang look for food for the ducklings. Among the shelter builders, 3 students shirk their duties, leaving the hard work to their peers. When Maki and the others return with duck feed, Penwang offers the ducks water and goes to get the feed. 2 of the students who avoided helping decide to play a prank and purposely trip Penwang, causing him to fall. Pretending to assist, they end up bullying him further, which leads Penwang to have a panic attack. A fight breaks out among the students. but Mrs. Yanni steps in and takes them inside for lunch. When the students find the bread at lunch stale, they ask Master Finn for fresh food, but he declines. After lunch, the students return to their ducklings, and Penguin names his baby duck, with others following suit and naming their own ducklings. A few days later, Mr. Amin gathers the students and asks what they've learned from caring for the ducks. When no one has an answer, he says they need to spend more time with the ducklings to understand their lesson. The students complain, questioning the purpose of this task. In response, Mr. Amin promises a great prize for those who care for their ducks until a specified day, reinvigorating the students' commitment. Yet, the two boys who previously bullied Penguin continue to avoid responsibility, coercing him into taking care of their ducks as well. Meanwhile, Jingjai, still recovering from her injury, also asks her friends for help. One night, a storm strikes, and Penguin brings his and the two boys' ducks inside to keep them safe. The following day, two other boys visit the duck shelter only to find it completely destroyed by the storm, with all the ducks missing. Desperate to avoid punishment, the students embark on a search for the missing ducklings. After a long day, they manage to find only one. They approach Penguin, asking for his help in locating the others, and he agrees. Penguin eventually finds all the ducklings and brings them back to the shelter by nightfall. However, with the shelter still in ruins, the students decide to search the forest for materials to rebuild it. During their search, Mackie and the others stumble upon an old temple-like structure, fenced off with wire. Curious, Mackie is about to climb over when Master Pratt appears and escorts them back to homeschool. Later that night, Hugo and Jingjai step outside to talk about their relationship. While chatting, Jingjai notices one of the ducklings has died. They check and realize it's Hugo's duck. In the middle of the night, Mr. Amin summons all the students to the meeting room. Annoyed and confused by the late gathering, the students listen as Mr. Amin announces that Penguin's duckling has died, and as a result, he will face punishment. Everyone, including Penguin, argues that the dead duckling isn't his, but Mr. Amin sends Penguin away regardless. The next morning at breakfast, Miss Yanni mentions a special ingredient in the meal. Horrified, the students realize the meat is from their ducklings. Shocked and devastated, they confront Headmaster Yanni, who coldly explains that it's a punishment for their behavior. She then announces that it's the first day of term, and all students must attend class on time. The students rush outside, hoping their ducklings are still alive, but they're nowhere to be found. Refusing to attend class in protest, they sit outside. Master Pratt approaches, asking why they're not in class, but the students run away instead. Barely making it down the hallway, they're stopped by Master Phobin, and Master Pratt escorts them back to class. Inside, Master Pratt locks the door to prevent anyone from leaving and assigns them their first task, writing a confession about a mistake they've made since arriving. He warns they won't leave until everyone completes this assignment. The following morning, Mackie wakes up from a dream about her brother, Ron, and realizes she and the girls are late for morning exercise. Some girls are reluctant to go, but they eventually head to Master Champ, where some boys are already running. The latecomers are made to sit and watch their friends run as punishment. When breakfast arrives, the food is burnt and undercooked. The students complain, but the headmaster insists they eat it as is, saying it's another punishment. Later, Mackie and another girl, White, ask the headmaster about Penguin's condition and if they can visit him. Headmaster Yanni replies that he's being treated and that they can visit after classes. In math class with Master Deluxe, the students receive an answer sheet to fill out. They learn that if anyone fails, the entire class will be given more questions. Frustrated by the harsh treatment, they comply reluctantly. Meanwhile, in the detention room, Master Phobin gives Penguin a pill to calm his anxiety. Left alone, Penguin expresses his fear of confinement, revealing he came to homeschool to avoid such situations. It's clear that Mr. Amin provided the pill specifically to ease Penguin's distress. Mackie and White visit Penguin, bringing him food and discussing the duck incident. Penguin insists that the dead duck wasn't any of the students, leading Mackie to suspect it was a setup by the masters. White agrees, calling the punishments extreme. They approach the masters for answers, but receive none. Later that night, White, Mackie, and two others discuss their punishments and the possible reasons behind them. White shares that she came to homeschool to escape a cruel relative, and Mackie wonders if the dead duckling belonged to someone else, not Penguin. As they sit there speculating, they notice Mr. Amin watching them from the balcony, smiling. At dinner, Master Phobin hands an extra plate to Jingjai, assigning her the responsibility of feeding Penwang from now on. The next morning, Master Champ subjects the students to extra push-ups. Frustrated, Hugo stands up, expressing that the situation is spiraling out of control. Maki agrees, saying that someone framed Penwang. This statement leads the students to confront Hugo and Jingjai, urging them to confess. Hugo admits to Mr. Amin that Penwang's duck didn't die. Instead, his own duck had died, and he swapped the name tags. Mr. Amin acknowledges that he was already aware of the swap. He then delivers a lecture on honesty, announcing that all punishments are now over. He also reveals that the ducklings are alive, and that the dead duckling wasn't any of theirs, it was all part of a test. Penwang is released, and the ducklings are returned to the students. While Penwang tends to his duck, Hugo and Jingjai approach him to apologize for their actions, and he forgives them. Shortly after, the students are summoned to the meeting room, where Mr. Amin and the masters announce that Maki will be the student president of Gen 6. Later, Mr. Amin calls Maki into his office, explaining her responsibilities as class president and urging her to help the masters maintain discipline. When Maki asks why he chose her, he replies that she reminds him of someone important, hinting that she may meet this person someday. That night, Mr. Amin gathers all the students and announces that one of them will get the chance to go home over the weekend. However, the students must collectively choose who among them deserves this privilege. The next day, in Master Friefan's class, they're tasked with writing letters to their parents about their life at school. Master Friefan offers them the option to skip the task if they feel uncomfortable. Some students playfully wrestle, while others focus on their letters. Fuji, a girl in the class, begins to write but stops, remembering her father's harshness when he sent her to homeschool. In the common room, the students debate who should go home. Flang, a girl who claims to feel unwell, expresses her desire to go home, believing it would improve her health. Later that night, in the boys' dorm, Mek asks his friends for their votes, but they refuse. Zhang, another student, bribes the others with the promise of 1,000,000 baht for each vote. Penwang argues that bribing for votes is unfair, but Zhang defends his actions, saying he just wants to go home. Another boy points out that the money is meaningless if they're stuck in homeschool for 3 more years. The following day, Mek approaches the girls and offers his help for a year if they vote for him. His twin, mocks him for trying to gain votes this way, especially since he can't offer 1,000,000 baht like Zhang. White, another student, declares that she vote for someone who truly deserves it, like Penwang, who's been through a lot. Zhang later confronts White with his 1,000,000 baht offer, but she declines. During garden duty, Flang feels dizzy and sits down, only to collapse moments later. Her classmates rush her to the infirmary, but as soon as they leave, she gets up. She isn't sick, but has been pretending to gain sympathy. The next day, in the kitchen with Penwang and Hugo, Flang deliberately cuts herself while preparing food, feigning an accident. She cries, saying she wants to go home to her mother. Outside, Fuji observes Flang's act and is visibly upset. She later confronts Flang, accusing her of faking her injuries, but Flang denies it. In the common room, Biu, a friend of Flang, asks if anyone has seen her. White replies that she went to the kitchen. When Biu checks, she finds Flang unconscious on the floor. That night, Flang wakes up in the infirmary with Master Friefan beside her. Master Friefan gently suggests that she share any concerns with the masters, and Flang tearfully admits she wants to go home. The next day, Headmaster Yanni announces that Flang has won the most votes and will be allowed to go home. However, Fuji stands up, declaring the vote invalid, accusing Flang of faking her injuries and illness. Flang denies Fuji's claims, leading to a heated argument. Mr. Amin intervenes, asking Flang if she's still claiming innocence, then reveals camera footage showing Flang deliberately injuring herself to manipulate her classmates. Mr. Amin announces that, as a result of Flang's deceit, no one will be allowed to go home since the students are not ready yet. He leaves, and Flang breaks down, realizing no one, not even her best friend Biu, believes her. In the girls' dorm, Flang tries to apologize, asking why everyone is treating her this way, but they all scold her for lying. Fang runs out of the dorm in tears, leaving Flang alone. Later, Maki and White return to the dorm, telling the girls they should have given Flang a chance to apologize. Realizing Flang is missing, they go outside to search for her. Outside, Maki suggests informing the masters when suddenly White spots Flang standing on the balcony, seemingly prepared to jump. The students gather, trying to stop her, Tibet manages to talk Fleng down, reassuring her that no one hates her and she doesn't need to harm herself. She steps away from the balcony, sobbing. Later, Fleng tries to apologize to Biu for betraying her trust, but Biu walks away, leaving Fleng devastated. Maki consoles her, saying Biu will forgive her eventually. All students are later summoned to the meeting room, where Mrs. Yanni announces that an exam will be held the next day. The students protest, pointing out they barely studied since the term started and fear they won't pass. The headmaster assures them that the exam will test what they have learned so far in homeschool. The next morning, Mr. Amin arrives and explains that any student who passes all 3 rounds of the exam will be permitted to use their phone in school. He also mentions that they can use any method necessary to pass. Hyogo's face lights up at this, and he tells the others not to worry if they fail, as only one student has ever passed all 3 exams. Maki inquires about the student's name, and Mr. Amin reveals it was Run. The students are allowed to choose a subject they feel confident in. So, Maki, Tibet, and Fleng select English, while White, Penweng, Hugo, and Jingjai opt for mathematics. Then Fuji and Mok go for history, while Mek and Zhang choose physical education and Biu picks agriculture. As the exam begins, Mr. Amin wishes them all luck. Hugo and Jingjai have only chosen mathematics so they can copy from Penweng, who excels in the subject. Jingjai and White get into a brief argument, but eventually work together to solve the problems. Maki, Tibet, and Fleng work as a team and manage to pass, while in history, only Nai succeeds. Both Mek and Zhang fail their physical exam, and Biu doesn't pass her agriculture exam either. The students who passed proceed to Master Friefin's class for the second round, while those who failed watch from the meeting room. The next challenge is a game of musical chairs, and Master Friefin informs them they can use any tactic to secure a seat. Hugo grins and asks if this includes using force, to which Master Friefin replies, "Everything is allowed." The students watching from the meeting room start placing baits on who will be disqualified first. Biu predicts the boys will win, while Fuji insists the girls will prevail. Zhang bets that Fleng will be eliminated first, while Mek thinks it will be Hugo or Jingjai. Mog, on the other hand, believes Penweng will be the first out. The game begins, and chaos ensues as students scramble for seats. Tibet shoves Hugo aside, and White pushes Jingjai out of the way. Everyone but Hugo and Jingjai manages to secure a chair. With only one chair remaining, Hugo rushes for it and instructs Jingjai to steal Fleng's seat. Jingjai shoves Fleng out of her chair and claims it for himself. White becomes furious with Jingjai's behavior, and they begin yelling at each other as tensions flare in the game. White accuses Jingjai of being heartless, and Jingjai retorts that she was just following the rules. Their argument escalates, disturbing Penweng, who starts having a panic attack. As the tension builds, Tibet suddenly stands up, causing the bickering to halt. Master Friefin watches intently, but doesn't intervene. Tibet suggests that if the chairs are causing so much trouble, they should simply destroy them. He picks up his chair and smashes it on the ground, breaking it. The situation escalates into physical fights. White squares off with Jingjai, while Tote and Neef clash with Hugo. Penweng's panic intensifies as Fleng tries unsuccessfully to calm him down. Maki intervenes, shouting for everyone to stop, arguing that fighting isn't helping anyone. Tibet then asks Maki for her suggestion, and she proposes they restart the game and play fairly. They ask Master Friefin for permission to start over, and she agrees. With the game reset, the round begins again. Tote and Nai try to tackle Hugo to keep him out of the way, while White pushes Jingjai back. Meanwhile, Maki, Penweng, and Fleng secure their seats. The failed students watch and cheer for Maki and her friends. Just then, Headmaster Yanni arrives and asks the failed students if they understand why they didn't pass. They each provide an answer, but Mrs. Yanni tells them they're all wrong and challenges them to figure it out. In the game, as the music stops, everyone grabs a seat. Jingjai shoves Maki out of her chair and claims it, but Penweng pushes Jingjai, allowing Maki to reclaim her spot. Jingjai and Hugo continue fighting over the last seat until time runs out, disqualifying them both. Master Friefin then instructs the students to remove all the chairs but one. When asked if only one student can pass this round, she clarifies that more than one may pass. As the final round starts, Tote and Nai race for the remaining chair, but Maki stops them. She points out that Master Friefin never specified they had to sit in the chair just to sit. Maki sits on the ground, and the others follow her lead, allowing them all to pass the exam. For the final round, held by Principal Mr. Amin, they're taken to his office, where he reveals the last challenge. He will ask them a single question, and whoever answers correctly will earn the chance to call their family. Mr. Amin hands each of them a blank sheet of paper, saying it's their task to figure out what to do with it. They have 1 hour to find the answer, with only one chance to respond. If they're wrong, they'll be disqualified. Leaving Mr. Amin's office, the students begin brainstorming, each attempting different methods. Some wet the paper, others freeze or heat it, but no hidden message appears. When the time is up, they reconvene in Mr. Amin's office to share their answers. Penwing guesses nothing as the answer, reasoning that if there's nothing on the paper, they can't find anything. Mr. Amin declares his answer wrong and disqualifies him, giving the others another hour to solve the puzzle. The remaining students gather by the lake to contemplate their motivations. They discuss who they would call and why. Maki admits she doesn't want to call anyone. She just wants to uncover Mr. Amin's true intentions. Nai wants to call his father. White wants to report the homeschool to the police, and Tibet hopes to contact his mother to check on her health. Back in the dorm, they realize that the only one who knows the answer to the blank sheet's mystery is Mr. Amin himself. The students decide to submit the blank sheets, allowing Master Amin to answer his own question. Meanwhile, Mrs. Yanni speaks to the failed students, asking if they've understood why they didn't pass. Receiving no answer, she tells them it was their selfishness and greed for personal gain that led to their failure. In Master Amin's office, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet present the blank sheets, explaining that the answer depends on what he intended to teach them. Master Amin commends them for reaching the correct answer as a team and asks who among them should receive the reward. Maki suggests they vote, and everyone votes for Tibet, but when Master Amin hands him the phone, Tibet declines, saying that if his friends can't share the reward, he doesn't want it either. That night, Master Freefin visits Mr. Amin to discuss the treatment of Run, warning that his approach might be dangerous and could even kill Run. Despite the warning, Mr. Amin insists on continuing the treatment. Meanwhile, the 4 students reflect on their day. White complains that it was a wasted opportunity, but Maki counters, saying they received something invaluable, the reward of friendship. Looking out the window, Maki spots Master Prasad and Freefin heading into the forest. Curious, she tries to follow them, but Nai stops her. Elsewhere, Master Amin goes to Run's room, where Run is tied to a chair to prevent him from escaping. Mr. Amin tells Run about the new Gen 6 students, noting how Maki reminds him of Run. Then, covering Run's face with a bag, he declares that he will cure him. Earlier, Run is brought into the treatment room by Master Prasad and Phobin, where Mr. Amin and Master Freefin await them. Run begins to yell and beg to be set free, insisting he isn't insane. Mr. Amin explains that he's there to receive treatment for his illness, but Run refuses to accept this. Meanwhile, Maki and Tibet are in the forest, discussing whether they should follow the masters. Maki shares her brother Run's story, explaining how he vanished 6 years ago. She believes he might be confined somewhere in homeschool. As they debate, Master Phobin passes by, prompting Maki and Tibet to hide. Tibet advises that it's too risky to follow the masters at night, suggesting they wait for another chance. The next day, during Master Deluxe's chemistry class, students are assigned to work in pairs. Maki pairs with Tibet, Fleng with Penweng, Fuji with Jingjai, White with Nai, Hugo with Zhang, and Bu teams up with Mek and Mok. Later, Maki and Tibet, along with White and Nai, work on their assignments in the library. Tibet draws close to Maki to discuss Run, sparking White's curiosity about their closeness. White asks Nai if he thinks anything is going on between them, but Nai dismisses it, saying he doesn't meddle in others' personal matters. That night, Hugo is walking Jingjai back to her bed, and they flirt until Headmaster Yanni intervenes, ordering Hugo to return to the boys' dorm. The next day, Headmaster Yanni announces a new rule forbidding romantic relationships among students, sparking protests. Master Yanni stands firm, insisting on enforcing it. Later in the girls' dorm, Bu, Fuji, and Jingjai discuss the rule. Bu complains it's unfair to restrict their feelings, and Jingjai, in defiance, jokes about dating every boy in their class. Fuji gets annoyed, accusing Jingjai of being insensitive, and heads to bed. The following day, Tibet, Maki, Penweng, Fleng, White, Jingjai, and Fuji are working together in the common room. When Fuji asks Jingjai for a book, Jingjai ignores her. Focused on watching Tibet, Fuji, frustrated, confronts Jingjai publicly. A fight breaks out, causing Penwang to panic while White and Tibet try to intervene. Master Deluxe arrives, warning them to stop or face punishment. Jingjai storms out, later finding solitude in the garden, reflecting on her troubled past, particularly her parents' separation due to infidelity. Hugo joins her, offering comfort as they discuss their lives. In the library, Nai and White work on their assignments when Biu arrives, asking for help, complaining that Mek and Mok aren't cooperating. Nai leaves to find a book, and Biu seizes the chance to ask White if she likes Nai. White denies it, and Biu confesses her own feelings for Nai. Later, Biu playfully asks Nai about his type, and he responds that he'd prefer someone like White. At night, Hugo and Jingjai are lying by the lake, cuddling as she shares her family history, and he recounts his brother Hunter's story. They're unaware that Master Phobin is watching from afar. Meanwhile, Master Freefin and Headmaster Yanni head into the forest, and Maki and Tibet attempt to follow. However, Penwang and Fleng appear, stopping them. They return inside, with Tibet assuring Maki they'll have another opportunity. In the middle of the night, Headmaster Yanni drags Jingjai out of the girls' dorm to where Master Phobin waits with Hugo. They're both taken to the punishment room, but manage to escape, stealing Master Fen's car keys and attempting to flee. They soon run out of gas and try to walk out of the forest, eventually encountering a police officer. Grateful, they get into his car, only to be driven back to homeschool, where they face punishment for their actions. A few days later, Mr. Amin visits Hugo and Jingjai in the detention room, asking if they've come to understand their wrongdoing. Based on their responses, he determines they still require further special treatment. Hugo and Jingjai plead with Mr. Amin to release them, but he dismisses their appeals and leaves. Mr. Gon then heads to the common room to announce that Hugo and Jingjai remain under punishment due to their previous actions. The students express their frustration, arguing that the punishment has gone on too long and is unfair. Mr. Amin responds to the complaints, stating that Hugo and Jingjai will only be released once they demonstrate a change in attitude. Later, Principal Amin summons Master Freefin to his office, instructing her to initiate the lizard game, when Master Freefin voices concerns that the students may not be ready. Mr. Amin assures her that this group is particularly sharp and directs her to proceed without delay. Master Freefin agrees. In the afternoon, all students are gathered in the backyard, where they find an old, keypad-less receiver phone. Master Freefin explains the game's rules. They have 3 days to identify the lizard, or they will face punishment. Each student is assigned an animal, and they must collaborate to uncover the lizard's identity. When students ask what will happen if they refuse to participate, Master Freefin warns that those who don't play will forfeit the letters they've sent to their families. Reluctantly, they all agree to participate, picking up the phone one by one to receive their assigned animal roles. Later, while sitting in the garden, Master Pratt arrives carrying stacks of books, handing one bundle to each student and assigning them homework to complete before their next class. Mek, however, is assigned double the work under the lizard's instructions. At lunchtime, everyone gathers to eat, but Fuji is ordered by the lizard to skip her meal. Furious, Fuji declares that the lizard should simply reveal themselves. Mek and Mok quickly turn on each other, accusing one another of being the lizard. Master Freefin then asks if these are their final answers, and when they confirm, she informs them they're both wrong. As punishment for their incorrect accusations, Mek and Mok are confined until the actual lizard is discovered. Master Phobin escorts the two away, still bickering, leaving the others in stunned silence. A short while later, White, Maki, Nai, and Tibet sit together, speculating on the lizard's identity. Master Deluxe arrives with further orders from the lizard for Maki and White, instructing them to clean the entire school. Tibet and Nai volunteer to help with the task. That night, Master Champ wakes Penwang and informs him that, per the lizard's orders, he must run laps around the field for 2 hours. Nai and Tibet are also summoned as punishment for breaking rules by helping Maki and White. Fleng, given the same task, joins them on the field. The following day, the lizard's punishing directives continue, with Fuji again forced to skip a meal, while others complete various chores. In the afternoon, as the exhausted students gather in the common room, Fuji grows suspicious of Zhang and Biu, noticing they are never subjected to the lizard's penalties. Fuji then reveals Zhang's past to everyone, mentioning he burned down his father's factory, casting doubt on whether he can be trusted. Zhang responds, explaining he had reasons for his actions unrelated to the current situation. As tensions rise, Master Freefin appears, reminding them that the purpose of the game is to identify the lizard. That evening in the girls' dorm, Fuji tells the others she remains wary of Zhang. Biu disagrees, saying she doesn't believe Zhang is the lizard. Fuji counters by questioning why Biu is never punished either, to which Biu swears her innocence, claiming her assigned animal is a horse. The girls finally go to sleep. In the morning, the students receive orders to skip breakfast, except for Zhang and Biu. Fuji confidently asserts that one of them must be the lizard. However, Zhang and Biu both refuse to eat, stating that if no one else gets food, they won't either. Zhang and Biu are asked to sit outside, where Biu reveals the truth about her father to Zhang. Later, they head inside, only to be confronted by Maki and her group, who demand to know their assigned animals. That night, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet sit outside discussing possible identities for the lizard. Suddenly, Maki realizes that Master Freefin might be the lizard, as all the orders originate from the masters, who closely monitor the students' every move. The next morning, they confront Master Freefin and confidently state their answer. Master Freefin confirms they are correct. Master Freefin instructs everyone to gather in the common room to receive their letters. Mek and Mok are released from detention just before she arrives, and Hugo and Jingjai appear as well, looking visibly different. To the students' shock, when Master Freefin reveals the letterbox, it's empty. No letters have arrived from their families. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, Mr. Deman instructs Master Champ to begin a new course for the students immediately. In the middle of the night, Hugo awakens and stares blankly at the wall. Tibet and Nai approach him, asking if something is wrong, but he ignores them and starts shouting. At the same time, Master Prasad informs Mr. Amin about Master Deluxe's sudden disappearance. Mr. Amin, furious, orders Master Prasad to find Master Deluxe immediately. Mr. Prasad leaves, and Mr. Amin visits Run's room, showing him a video of Ren in an attempt to help him recover. Elsewhere, Headmaster Yanni and Master Pratt search the forest for Master Deluxe. The next morning, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet are sitting in the library, discussing Hyogo's unsettling behavior the previous night. Maki notes that Jingjai, though not sleepwalking, was acting strangely as well. Their conversation is interrupted by Penwang's panicked voice echoing from the distance. In the kitchen, Mek and Mok are locked in a heated argument over food. Maki and the others intervene to break up the fight. However, their confrontation is cut short when Master Champ summons all the students to the courtyard. There, Master Champ divides the students into two groups and explains that a representative from each team will fight, with the losing team forfeiting their meal. The first match is between Mek and Mok. They take their positions and begin. But when Mek knocks Mok out, he continues beating him. The students plead with Master Champ to stop the fight, but he does nothing. Maki and White intervene, attempting to separate Mek and more, but Master Champ moves to restrain them. Tibet steps in to block Master Champ, but is shoved aside, prompting Nai to punch Master Champ in the face. As punishment for defying Master Champ, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet are sent to the detention room. However, they feel no regret, believing Master Champ's actions were cruel. During this time, Headmaster Yanni visits Run, telling him he must trust homeschool again, or his sister Ren will be harmed. Back in the boys' dorm, the students discuss Mek and Moore's fight. Penwing points out that they shouldn't hold grudges, as both were simply following the master's orders. Meanwhile, Headmaster Yanni summons Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet, taking them to a tree she calls the Tree of Remorse. She instructs them to sit there until they feel true remorse for their actions. In the common room, Master Champ hands the white team ingredients for lunch, instructing them not to share anything with the black team. Flang questions this rule, and Master Champ explains that they must compete for their next meal's ingredients. Jingjai remarks that although she was once forbidden from eating, now she has lost the desire to eat altogether. Later, the white team gathers in the library, exhausted and uncertain about how they will manage, as they lack the energy to continue fighting. In the next round, Penwing shares his stash of Quant with the rest of his team. Meanwhile, in the forest, Masters Prasad and Phobin continue their search for Master Deluxe, finding footprints that suggest she is not alone. That evening, Master Champ forces the students to compete for their next meal's ingredients. The first match is between Hugo and Jingjai, but Hugo lets Jingjai win, unwilling to hurt her. Next, Fuji and Zhang face off, with Fuji quickly winning by landing a low kick. Then, Flang and Biu are pitted against each other. As they struggle over the rope, Flang tearfully apologizes to Biu for past lies, and they both decide to drop the rope, resulting in a tie. Mek and Penwang, already in agreement, also drop the rope together, which infuriates Master Champ, who denies them food until Monday. The students accept, agreeing that starving is better than fighting each other. While this unfolds, Headmaster Yanni continues punishing Maki and the others at the remorse tree. Maki asks if they'll get food, but Yanni says they must first recognize their mistakes. The group insists they did nothing wrong. Suddenly, they hear Master Deluxe scream from the forest. Disregarding Yanni's orders to stay put, the students rush into the forest and find Master Deluxe cowering against a tree. When they ask what happened, she fearfully replies that Run is back at homeschool. The students try to question Master Deluxe, but she doesn't recall anything that happened. As they tend to her wounds, Masters Prosat and Phobin arrive, soon joined by Headmaster Yanni, who orders Phobin to escort the students back to homeschool. Yanni then takes Master Deluxe to the treatment room with Prosat's help. The next day, Maki and her friends question Master Deluxe, but she still remembers nothing. Maki wonders if her condition is similar to Hugo and Jingjai's. Just then, Prosat arrives and secretly gathers the group to join the other students in a meeting about escaping homeschool. Maki hesitates, preferring to stay, but the others persuade her to help. They decide to steal Master Phobin's minibus at night, planning to divert the Master's attention and sneak out. As they discuss, something triggers Jingjai, and she begins staring blankly, then suddenly screams and faints. They rush her to the infirmary, where Master Freefen treats her. Maki suggests they postpone the escape plan, but Hugo insists they proceed as planned, adding that if they fail, they should burn homeschool down. That night, the Masters gather in Mr. Ammon's room when Flang bursts in, yelling about a fire in the lounge. Moments later, Biu arrives, reporting fires in the kitchen and garden as well. The Masters scramble to extinguish the flames, giving the students a chance to escape. However, Mr. Amin catches them, but, to their surprise, offers to send them home himself. The students, shocked but overjoyed, agree. Master Phobin hands them sleep-inducing cookies, which everyone except Maki accepts as she decides to stay, having no one waiting for her. Mr. Amin visits Run and informs him that all the students have gone home, except for one Maki. Run realizes Maki has chosen to stay. The next day, the other students return home to their families. Meanwhile, back at homeschool, Master Prosat tells Maki that sending the students home was part of homeschool's curriculum all along. When the students return home, they are stunned by the drastic changes that have occurred in their lives since they left for homeschool. Mek and Mok discover that their parents have divorced. White learns that his aunt sold their family home. Fuji and Zhang both face disappointment from their fathers, while Penwing's mother urges him to return to homeschool, saying his life there, though harsh, is preferable to being with his father. Flang's mother and Bayu's father also want them to go back. However, Tibet finds that his mother has passed away, and he mourns her in solitude. While Tibet stands grieving, Master Amin arrives and reveals that Tibet's father was also a teacher at homeschool. Master Amin promises to honor Tibet's mother's wishes by taking care of him. Meanwhile, Master Freefen speaks to Run about Tibet, mentioning that Amin sees Tibet as suitable to carry on Master Fut's project. Run, however, has lost faith in homeschool's project, feeling disillusioned after Master Fut's death. Master Amin has a deep conversation with Tibet about his past and mother, telling him that if he truly wants to understand his past, he must return to homeschool. Tibet agrees to go back. At homeschool, Master Deluxe patrols the building at night with Maki quietly following. Master Prosat approaches Deluxe, checks on her well-being, and reminds her to take her medicine. Noticing Maki, he tells her to come out, then escorts her back to her dorm. Maki questions Prosat about what the Masters are hiding, but he enigmatically says he's waiting for her to discover it herself. The students who briefly went home gather with Mr. Amin by the bus, waiting for Nai to return. Once Nai arrives, they all board the bus and head back to homeschool. The following morning, Mr. Amin gathers all the students in the common room and finally reveals the purpose of homeschool's rigorous methods. He tells them that he is preparing them for a world far harsher than homeschool's discipline. Later, Maki and her friends sit by the fountain, discussing their personal troubles. Tibet talks about his father, and Maki shares about her brother. Suddenly, there's a noise in the bushes. It's Flang and Penwang, who overheard everything but promised to keep their secrets. Penwang mentions a videotape of Run stored in the library and takes them there. He pulls out a children's storybook that contains the tape. As Mackie sees it, she feels an eerie sense of fear, as if it awakens a past trauma. Meanwhile, all the masters gather in the forest for a mysterious ritual. Master Amin announces that homeschool's most crucial curriculum phase is about to begin and emphasizes the need for their commitment. Master Prasad accuses one of the masters of being a mole, someone working against their success, and suggests it might be Master Deluxe, citing the mysterious footprints found beside hers in the forest. Back in the library, the students watch the videotape on a small TV. It shows Run talking with Master Fit about a recurring nightmare he wants to escape. Watching this, Mackie realizes there are gaps in her memory, confirming her suspicion that something happened to her she can't remember. Nai, standing guard, notices the masters returning, and they quickly hide the tape and return to their dorms. The next morning, Mackie has a nightmare about her past and wakes up in a panic, with White comforting her. They join the others at breakfast, where a feast awaits. Master Phobin arrives and announces that students can now choose which classes to attend. Mock and Hugo select Master Prasad's class, while Biu, Fuji, and Jingjai opt for Headmaster Yanni's. Tibet, Nai, White, and Mackie decide to attend Master Freefin's classes, each student setting out on their chosen path at homeschool. Meanwhile, Mek and Zhang go to Master Champ, while Penwing and Fun visit Master Deluxe. Each master shares their story of how they became a teacher at homeschool, imparting essential life lessons to their students and exposing them to the world's realities. Mackie asks Master Freefin for help to forget a haunting nightmare, and Master Freefin agrees to assist, beginning a treatment. It's revealed that Mackie was abused by her stepfather at a young age, and Mr. Amin erased her memories to help her heal. Later, Mackie approaches Mr. Amin with questions about her past. He answers most of them, but when she inquires about Run's whereabouts, he tells her she get her answers in due time. Mackie then sits outside, reflecting on her treatment. In the treatment room, Master Amin first gave her a cupcake, then hypnotized her to erase painful memories. While she sits lost in thought, Tibet joins her, and they talk about the adult secrecy and how frustrating it is. Mackie asserts that she won't live in ignorance and will uncover the truth, bringing them closer as they hold hands. The next morning, the students are doing their daily exercise. Nai and Tibet take a break from running to catch their breath. Nai remarks that the girls are behind, otherwise, White would tease him about tiring out. Tibet asks if he likes White, and Nai admits he does, but hasn't told her yet. Nai then asks Tibet about him and Mackie. Tibet replies that though he likes her, Mackie doesn't seem interested in romance. Later in the girls' dorm, Jingjai arrives with a bouquet of flowers. Bill asks who gave them to her, and she replies that Hugo did. The girls tease each other about their crush and laugh, but they stop when Headmaster Yanni enters. They stand respectfully as Headmaster Yanni hands Mackie a booklet announcing changes in the class schedule. The girls check their new schedules. In the courtyard, Master Freefin's class is in session, with Mackie, Tibet, Nai, and White in attendance. Master Freefin gives each a cupcake they must eat for the treatment to begin. Though hesitant, they eat the cupcakes as instructed. In Master Pratt's class, Hugo and Mock have brought items that mean a lot to them, as instructed. Hugo brings a bracelet, his brother's last gift to him, while Mock brings a family photo. Master Pratt throws their items onto a pile of sticks and sets them on fire, explaining that by doing so, they've released their biggest weaknesses, aiming to make them as strong as himself. Meanwhile, Fleng and Penwing are in Master Deluxe's class, who helps them process past traumas through music. They share their insecurities and support each other, building confidence. In Headmaster Yanni's class, Biu, Fuji, and Jingjai discuss self-respect and self-preservation as women, which Headmaster Yanni emphasizes as vital lessons. All masters are connecting well with the students, who are learning quickly. On the other side, Master Phobin goes to bring lunch to Run. Seeing him instead of Master Freefin, Run asks why he's there. Master Phobin explains that since the treatment for the Gen 6 students started, the other masters were busy. Run asks Master Phobin to stay for a chat, but he declines, saying Master Amin forbade him. Run then uses a hypnotic technique to stir up Master Phobin's past traumas, causing him to hide under a table. Run attempts to escape, but Master Amin arrives in time to stop him. Meanwhile, White, Mackie, Nai, and Tibet suddenly find themselves on the hill of the Remorse Tree, with Master Freefin nearby. They ask her what happened, and she explains they were put into a trance by the cupcakes they had eaten earlier. In Master Pratt's class, the students are given jelly as a reward for their obedience, which they happily eat before returning to their dorms. Master Freefin is seen sitting with Master Deluxe, and they discuss that night in the forest. Master Freefin asks Master Deluxe if she remembers who accompanied her, and Master Deluxe replies that it was Master Freefin herself. Around midnight, Headmaster Yanni leads 3 girls who ate the jellies into the forest, where all the masters have gathered. Master Amin selects Fuji as the first to undergo the cure and takes her to the treatment room. There, Master Amin uses brainwashing techniques on Fuji, planting a desire for revenge against her father. The next morning, Master Freefin is at her desk, smoking a cigarette, when Headmaster Yanni arrives. She reprimands Master Freefin for smoking indoors, and Master Freefin apologizes, explaining that she's been under stress. She expresses concern that the students aren't ready for such severe treatment, and that Master Amin's methods have changed. Headmaster Yanni acknowledges her worries, but insists they must trust Mr. Bond for the future of their society. Later that night, Master Freefin meets with Run and asks if he knows of a way to stop Mr. Amin. Run replies that he does, and Master Freefin agrees to help him escape from homeschool. Run recalls how Master Amin used to teach him psychology with great care, only for their lessons to be constantly interrupted by Mr. Bowden, a chronic alcoholic who mocked Master Amin's methods. Back in the present, Run tells Master Freefin that the Master Amin he once knew has changed and that they must stop him. Meanwhile, White senses someone following her as she walks down the hallway. It turns out to be Nye, who was worried about her sudden disappearance. White blushes at his concern. At the same time, Mackie and Tibet are searching for Run and stumble upon a hidden passage behind a bookshelf in Master Amin's office. Just as they prepare to explore, Master Amin arrives and angrily confronts them, demanding to know what they're doing. Mackie and Tibet claim they know Run is being held there. Hearing their voices, Run senses Mackie's presence, but is unable to act as Master Amin orders them to leave. The next day, White and the others grow worried about Mackie and Tibet. The 2 of them are now kneeling under the Tree of Remorse, being punished by Master Yanni for entering Master Amin's office without permission. Meanwhile, Master Freefin tries to convince Master Amin to reconsider Project R, arguing that the kids aren't ready for it. However, Master Amin stands firm, insisting the project must continue for the sake of his revenge. Later, Master Amin sits with Run in the basement, revealing that he knows Run wants to stop the project, but he won't allow it. He then shares the true origin of homeschool, explaining that it was born out of love. He takes Run back to the 1980s, when this place was originally an orphanage owned by Mr. Bowden's father. At the time, Master Amin worked there as a caretaker, while Mr. Bowden despised the orphans and treated them poorly. 2 years later, Mr. Bowden became engaged to Finya, a kind-hearted young woman who loved the orphans and cared for them deeply. Mr. Bowden assigned Master Amin to look after her. Secretly, Master Amin had feelings for Finya, but he kept them hidden. One day, Finya, alone and in tears, confided in Master Amin about Mr. Bowden's abuse. She revealed that she was pregnant with Mr. Bowden's child and only wanted to experience motherhood. She begged Master Amin to help her forget the painful memories of Mr. Bowden's cruelty. Moved by her suffering, Master Amin used his hypnotic skills to ease her pain. But the abuse didn't stop. One day, Mr. Bowden pushed Finya down the stairs, causing her to lose the baby. Witnessing this, Master Amin was filled with rage, but kept his composure and rushed Finya to the hospital. Sometime later, Finya sat on a bench, watching the orphanage children play. Though heartbroken, she still held on to hope. She shared her dream with Master Amin. She had always wanted to be a mother, and though that dream had been taken from her, she now wished to create a school that would provide a loving, home-like environment for abandoned children. She wanted to call it homeschool. Master Amin promised to make her dream a reality, bringing her immense joy. Sadly, not long after, Finya's health deteriorated, and she passed away. Devastated and fueled by a desire for revenge, Master Amin became determined to fulfill Finya's wish. He approached Mr. Bowden with a plan to transform the orphanage into homeschool, where he would teach advanced psychology to the children. At first, Mr. Bowden resisted, claiming there was no profit in it. Knowing Mr. Bowden's greed, Master Amin proposed a separate school for wealthy families who wanted to abandon their children, promising it could generate millions in profit. Mr. Bowden immediately agreed. Over time, however, Mr. Bowden's greed grew. He demanded not just 13, but over 100 children to maximize profits. Master Amin warned that bringing in too many children would mean they wouldn't receive proper care, leading to a heated argument between them. The stress of their conflict began to take a toll on Master Amin's health, and he developed a terminal illness. As he faced his impending death, Master Amin turned to Master Prasad and Master Fu, asking them to hypnotize him so he could erase the illness from his mind. Master Fu and Master Yani urged him to seek medical treatment, but Master Amin refused. He insisted that he could not abandon his students and had to fulfill his promise to Finya. Eventually, Master Prasad agreed and hypnotized Master Amin, making him forget about his illness. Years later, Master Amin, accompanied by Master Prasad, went to see Mr. Bodin. Looking him in the eye, he declared that he was finally going to get his revenge for everything he had done. He then pulled out a gun, while Master Prasad forced Mr. Bodin to take hypnotic pills, pushing him to commit the unthinkable. Run tells Master Amin that he had warned him against seeking revenge, as revenge turns a person into a monster. Master Amin responds that Mr. Bodin got exactly what he deserved. Run insists that he is no longer the same Master Amin he once knew. Later, Master Amin asks Master Prasad if the project they are about to start is morally right. Master Prasad gives him a suspicious look and tells him it's time for his hypnosis treatment, making it clear that something suspicious is happening. Meanwhile, Tibet and Maki regain consciousness in the school infirmary after passing out from their punishment. They ask Master Freefin what's going on, and she explains that the school is launching something called Project R. To learn more, she directs them to a book on the shelf titled Winnie the Pooh, which contains a recorded video. Tibet is shocked and asks if this was all part of a bigger plan. Master Freefin confirms that Master Amin has carefully orchestrated everything at homeschool. They watch the 6-year-old video, which shows Run and Master Fu in a treatment room. In the footage, Master Fu gives Run a special hypnotic pill. When Run asks why he is receiving the pill and what Project R is about, Master Fu explains that the project is meant to help people with painful memories, but warns that it could be dangerous if misused. The video suddenly cuts off. Maki and the others try to figure out what R in Project R stands for. Nai suggests it could mean recovery, while Penling jokingly recalls a song that starts with R. However, Tibet concludes that R stands for revenge and believes Master Amin is seeking vengeance. The group starts to agree when Master Prasad enters, clapping and congratulating them for solving the puzzle. Determined to stop his plan, they stand up and declare that they won't let him succeed. Master Prasad laughs and tells them they should get some rest. Later, Master Prasad meets with Run, who proposes a bet. If Run wins their coin toss game, he gets to ask one question. If Master Prasad wins, Run will have to do whatever he says. Master Prasad agrees, but after flipping the coin, he loses. When Run asks about his plans for Project R, Master Prasad refuses to answer, saying that revealing his intentions would spoil the fun. The next day, Master Amin's condition worsens, and he collapses. Master Freefin and Master Phobin find him and rush to help. Meanwhile, Master Prasad keeps a close watch on the students through CCTV. Later, Master Freefin warns Run that Master Prasad plans to take him to the treatment room that night. She has come up with a plan to stop him and gives Run a pen that he can use to hypnotize Prasad if necessary. That night, Run is blindfolded and escorted to the treatment room by Master Phobin and Master Champ. Using the pen from Master Freefin, he hypnotizes the masters and manages to escape. Meanwhile, Master Freefin is on her way to help Run when Maki and White stop her, telling her that Mek and Mok have accidentally ingested a large number of hypnotic pills and are unconscious in the kitchen. She is forced to delay her plans and rushes to help them, accidentally dropping her knife in the process. Maki picks it up. Elsewhere, Run hurries to Master Amin's office and is shocked to find him hypnotized, with Master Prasad standing beside him. It becomes clear that Master Prasad is the true mastermind behind everything Master Amin has done. Master Prasad reveals that he was responsible for Mr. Bodin's death and for keeping Run locked in the basement for 6 years. He admits that all the cruel actions at the school were his design, driven by his belief that revenge is the ultimate solution. Enraged, Run points the pen at Master Prasad's neck. However, Master Prasad just laughs and dares him to go through with it. At that moment, Run remembers what Master Amin once told him, that revenge turns you into the very monster you seek to defeat. Choosing not to kill Master Prasad, Run instead punches him in the face. Meanwhile, Master Yani, Master Deluxe, and Master Freefin devise a plan to stop Master Prasad and put an end to his horrific project. Maki returns the knife that Master Freefin dropped earlier and asks if everything is okay. She reassures him that she can handle the situation. Master Freefin heads into the woods, where Master Champ and Master Phobin inform her that Run has escaped from the treatment room. Outside, Mackie and the others spot Run, and Mackie rushes to hug him. After 6 long years, the siblings are finally reunited in a heartwarming moment. Run checks on Mackie and reveals the truth to everyone about Master Prosat, exposing that he is behind all the illegal activities and is using the students as part of his revenge plan against their families. The shocking revelation leaves everyone stunned. Suddenly, Master Prosat appears with a gun, threatening them. He flips a coin to decide their fate, whether they will get a chance to escape or be killed on the spot. The coin lands in their favor, granting them 10 seconds to run. As they attempt to escape, Master Champ and Master Phobin block their path. Nye steps up to confront Master Champ, but is quickly overpowered. Just then, Master Freefin arrives, holding a knife to Master Phobin's neck, demanding that the students be allowed to leave. In response, Master Prosat fires a warning shot and threatens everyone. He then captures Master Freefin, holding a gun to her head, and allows the students to escape. Master Freefin is taken hostage, and the students are left to find their way out on their own. The next day, Master Prosat devises a cruel game. He enters the boys' room and announces that he needs a volunteer. Run immediately steps forward to protect the younger students, but Master Prosat refuses, saying it wouldn't be fun. Instead, he chooses Penwang. Penwang breaks down in tears while the other boys try to intervene, but Master Prosat threatens them with his gun. He then orders Master Phobin to bring a random girl, and Flang volunteers to protect White and Mackie. Master Prosat then reveals to vials one containing poison and the other an antidote. He flips a coin to decide who will get the poison. Penwang, determined to protect Flang, volunteers to take it himself. Later, Master Prosat gathers the students and announces that both Penwang and Master Freefin have been poisoned. He places 4 vials on the table, claiming that only to contain the antidote, while the others are just saline solution. Run grabs 2 vials and rushes to save Master Freefin, while Mackie and the others take the remaining vials to Penwang. Penwang and Flang are tied together, and Penwang's condition is worsening rapidly. Flang tries to comfort him by bringing up his favorite croissant, but he loses consciousness. Mackie and the others arrive and inject him with one of the vials, unsure if it's the antidote or just saline. Miraculously, it turns out to be the antidote, and Penwang starts to recover. Meanwhile, Run reaches Master Freefin and injects her, but her vial turns out to be saline instead of the antidote. As she begins to succumb to the poison, she urges Run to protect all the homeschool kids. Run is devastated, and the moment is heartbreaking. Master Prosat arrives, laughing, and accuses Run of being responsible for Master Freefon's death. He hands Run a pistol, taunting him to take revenge. Run struggles, realizing that killing Prosat would only make him lose everything including the students, which is exactly what Prosat wants, turning one of them into a murderer. Meanwhile, the students reveal to Master Phobin that Master Prosat, not Master Amin, is behind Project R. This revelation fills Master Phobin with regret over his past actions. Master Prosat returns to the school, mockingly pretending to cry over Master Freefon's death, which ignites the students' anger and grief. Nye punches Master Prosat, but Run stops him, saying that fighting back with violence will only play into Prosat's hands. He urges everyone to go back to their rooms. Master Prosat then questions Master Champ and Master Phobin about their loyalty and how they feel about Master Freefon's death. Master Champ sides with Prosat, saying Freefin deserved it, but Master Phobin hesitates, revealing his true feelings. Meanwhile, Run and Mackie reminisce about their childhood, and Mackie tearfully vows that they will never be separated again. Master Yanni and Master Deluxe grieve the loss of Master Freefin, with Master Yanni promising to bring those responsible to justice. Suddenly, Master Prosat arrives, taking Master Deluxe hostage and threatening Master Yanni. He demands that she cooperate with Project R, or he will kill all the students. Elsewhere, Hugo, Jingjai, and Biu have been brainwashed by Master Prosat and are behaving strangely. When Flang tries to talk to Biu, she responds in a robotic tone. Master Yanni warns Flang to stay away from them. Master Prosat then reveals to Mackie and the others that the sounds they heard in the forest were actually Run's screams. He plays a recording of how he tortured Run, including pulling out his fingernails. Furious, Mackie attempts to attack Prosat, but Run stops her, urging her to stay patient. Meanwhile, Master Phobin is leading Nye and Tibet to the treatment room for Project R, but he suddenly stops and tells them he has a plan. That night, Mek and Penwang, feeling hungry, head to the kitchen to grab some croissants. To their shock, they find Jingjai standing there with a knife, speaking in a robotic tone and accusing them of breaking the rules. They try to hide, but Jingjai follows them. When she catches Penwang and is about to stab him, Mek steps in to stop her, but she grabs him by the throat. Just in time, Master Yanni arrives and saves Mek. The next day, Master Yanni gathers the students and reveals that Master Prasad is planning to brainwash them into killing their parents. She warns that he has threatened to kill them if she doesn't comply. She stresses the importance of staying united to find a way to stop him. Meanwhile, Master Prasad has taken the students' parents hostage, tying them to chairs. The parents are confused about how they ended up there. Prasad taunts them, claiming that their children are planning to kill them. The parents refuse to believe him, insisting that their kids love them and would never harm them. But then, Prasad plays a series of videos where the students complain about their parents. He tells them he has played these videos on repeat to fuel their children's resentment. Elsewhere, the students gather on the training grounds, where Master Champ orders them to pick a weapon they will use to kill their parents. Each student selects their preferred weapon. Master Prasad then announces that he will release the parents one by one, based on their wealth. This leads the parents to argue over who is the richest. The students quickly realize that Master Prasad has only captured the wealthiest parents and conclude that he is seeking revenge against the rich. Master Yanni arrives and informs the students that the projector has begun. He asks Run to come with him, but the students insist on helping stop the massacre. At first, Master Yanni hesitates, but after Run's persistence, he agrees, warning them to be careful and to hide if things become too dangerous. The group then rushes to stop their brainwashed classmates, while Master Yanni and Run head off to rescue Master Amin. Meanwhile, the brainwashed students spot their parents and begin hunting them down. The terrified parents run, desperately apologizing for abandoning them, but their children, blinded by hatred, refuse to listen. Bai and Zhang, wielding axes, chase after their father. Jingjai, gripping a samurai sword, runs after her mother. Hugo, armed with a gun, goes after his father. The other students try to intervene but struggle to stop them. On another side, Nai also picks up a sword and charges toward his politician father. However, Nai is not actually under Master Prasad's brainwashing. Master Phobin had saved him before he could be taken to the treatment room. Nai is only pretending to attack. His father, fearing for his life, threatens to shut down the school. But Nai tells him that, despite his father never showing him love, homeschool did. He explains that homeschool gave him love and friends, and he refuses to let his father's political power destroy it. Nai urges them all to work together to stop Master Prasad and restore homeschool's reputation. Deeply ashamed, Nai's father apologizes for his mistakes. Master Phobin then gives him a hypnotic cupcake to erase his memory of the day's events. Meanwhile, Run and Master Yanni try to break Master Amin free from Master Prasad's mind control. Run pours his heart out, saying that he was an orphan all his life, but Master Amin took him in like his own child. He tells him that Master Amin is his real father and begs him to return and help defeat Master Prasad. At first, Master Amin remains unresponsive, still in a trance. Disappointed, Run and Master Yanni begin to walk away. But suddenly, Master Amin wakes up, tears streaming down his face. He grabs Run's hand and promises that he will never leave him alone again. Elsewhere, Tibet manages to grab Master Prasad's gun. Master Prasad taunts him, provoking him to shoot. He then reveals the truth about Tibet's father, Master Phobin. He explains that Master Phobin loved him dearly and once told him that he no longer wanted to work on Project R. He had decided to leave and spend time with his children instead. This, however, ruined Master Prasad's plans. Prasad had argued that, without Project R, abandoned children would never be able to take revenge on their parents. Master Phobin had tried to reason with him, saying that revenge was pointless. He had told Prasad that even though he knew his father had done terrible things, it didn't mean he should resort to murder. But in response, Master Prasad had strangled Master Phobin with a rope, killing him. Hearing this, Tibet is consumed by rage and points the gun at Master Prasad, struggling to control his emotions. Master Prasad smirks and reminds Tibet of his sick mother, saying that the grief of Master Phut's death had made her ill. He laughs wickedly, boasting that he killed both of Tibet's parents with a single arrow. This drives Tibet into a fury, and he nearly pulls the trigger, but Master Amin stops him just in time. He urges Tibet to control his anger, warning that if he gives in, Master Prasad will have won. Tibet struggles to calm himself. Still laughing, Master Prasad then reveals that he has also set a trap for Maki and the other students. Run immediately rushes off to save them. Master Amin then boldly declares that no child from homeschool will kill anyone. Master Prasad scoffs, calling it impossible, insisting that they will inevitably turn on each other. But Master Amin's words prove true. The parents, realizing they were moments from being killed, beg for forgiveness with all their hearts. They admit that they spent their lives obsessed with money, forgetting about their own children. Seeing their parents' tears, the brainwashed students finally snap out of their trance and forgive them. Meanwhile, Master Champ tracks down Maki and the other students and shoots them. Maki is critically wounded. Master Phobin rushes in like a hero and orders the others to run. They move a short distance, but Maki's condition worsens. With her last bit of strength, she calls out for Run, saying she wants to see him before she dies. Nai fights Master Champ to distract him, but Master Champ overpowers him. At that moment, Run arrives and is devastated to see Maki in such a state. He pleads with her to hang on, but she loses consciousness. Enraged, Run charges at Master Champ, using his hypnosis to force him to beat himself mercilessly. Master Champ is nearly beaten to death when Master Deluxe steps in. Stopping Run, he warns that if Run kills him, Master Prasad will win. Run, tears in his eyes, forces himself to stop. Later, it is revealed that Maki is still alive and is being taken to the hospital. All the parents are given hypnotic cupcakes to erase their memories of the incident. Finally, Master Prasad is arrested by the police. Smirking wickedly, he tells Master Amin that while he may have stopped him, others like him will rise again to continue the projector's work. Master Amin remains unfazed, stating that homeschool's future is now in safe hands. Later, Master Amin takes Run to the dark basement where he had been imprisoned for 6 years. Master Amin apologizes, but Run tells him there's no need. Master Prasad had been controlling him all along. A month later, Maki returns to homeschool from the hospital. Tibet, overjoyed, tells her how much he missed her. They share a heartfelt and romantic moment. When Run arrives, Maki, still weak but happy, runs to hug him. Nai and White's friendship grows stronger, with Nai confessing his feelings. White responds with a kiss, and everything finally feels normal again. As the sun sets, Master Amin gazes over homeschool, reflecting on Finya's dream, knowing he has fulfilled it. Days pass, and Master Amin's health deteriorates. He writes his will, leaving all his property and authority to Run. Accepting his final moments, he retreats to the basement. When Master Yanni and Run bring him food, they find that he has passed away. Run weeps bitterly, and Master Yanni, holding back tears, finds the letter containing his will. Master Amin is buried with full honors, and Run becomes the new principal of homeschool. The students continue their lives at homeschool with love and care, celebrating together and hosting a party in Master Amin's memory. As the season ends, a new student, Gen Z, a former classmate of Run, arrives at the school, laughing eerily, just like Master Prasad, hinting at what's to come. Now we will wait for Season 2. Till then, see another cool videos and subscribe to Cine Recaps. We will meet in the next one. Goodbye.